Hi everyone, the Mature Simmer here. So I'm back here on the farm, picking up some pallet forks. So my eggs have filled up in the last couple hours, and typically that means that they will stop producing. They won't necessarily store up. I don't think they work like the bees. I could be wrong. But I'm going to have to get this cleared, so I guess that plan is also not accurate. Where I had talked, although, you know what? Let me try something. Because my planter, or seeder, I think, was relatively empty. Why does this keep... Oh, because I'm hitting the wrong button. Hitting the wrong Alt key. I'm like, why does the GPS line still show up when I've turned them off? But that would be why. So, whoop. Alright. So, I don't know that I can fit it all, but I would think, given that I've done half, and I think I had half, like at least one of these bags should go away. So if I only have to do a bag, that will be better. So let's see. Alright, well, the seeds aren't going away. Well, and I guess those aren't going away either. Oh, terrific. Alright. Fun stuff. It's like, why is this not moving? Oh, I know why it's not moving. Because I think I dropped my fork somewhere. Great. Because somehow I had cleaned things up. So this is going to be fun stuff. Trying to figure out where that's laying. Alright, well, the bags are out. Not the way I planned, but... Alright, so I think I lost my... Okay, now I'm so confused. So somewhere here are pallet forks. So this is just... I'm like my own worst enemy. I really am. Yeah, I'm not sure where they're at. Guess let me turn on... Okay, they don't appear to be there. Aha. There they are. Alright. So... the question ends up being, how do I get them out from under me? Oops. That's not what I wanted. Oh boy. I'm just not sure. Alright. So, put the differential on. But no, I thought I was disconnecting the back, and I was in fact disconnecting the front. So that doesn't help any. Let's see, there we go. Alright, so what I need, and this will kind of be sloppy, is I need the trailer to get to the eggs, is what this all started with, and then it just turned into the disaster that we see here. So I should be able to pull this around. Oh my goodness. Alright. I hope you had as much entertainment out of that as I didn't. Don't know how else to say that, but wow. So yeah, the challenge here, yeah, it's still showing 8,400 now. You know, the thing is, like, it may show that, and maybe then I'll have a pallet that comes out with several hundred to begin with. Now this is the unknown piece here too, is how easy will this be to pick these up? You know, so the question is, like, now will it pop out another pallet of eggs? I don't know that it will. So I think if they get full, I have a bit of a problem. So let's see. If I drop this, oh boy. Thinking that's gonna fall off. Because, yeah, I need to get past the container. Wow. So this is part of what I am not thrilled about, and part of why I have the strawberries auto-selling, but there is a possible way to auto-sell animal products, but it's a mod, and with the ground the way it is, I'm not sure that it's going to work. I don't know that that's going to work either, but for now it is. Wow. That's all I can say, is wow. Zoom in here a bit. And that's what I was worried about, because now that's going to be off. I just so need this. Alright, let me get this taken care of, and I'll go from there. Alright, so I've gotten things on to the wagon. Let me drop this, and then go back to what is unfortunately laying itself out to be very much what I thought would be happening, which is chicken feed is very quickly being consumed. So I have 450 liters left. At this point, I'm consuming 100 an hour. So as we talked about, I am at 10 hours between getting full, which obviously is not what I was hoping to have happen. So let's see. There we go. So it looks like I've been scooping this pile, unfortunately, further and further to the tree. I think I need to start, like, coming at it from the side before I create a bigger problem and have it in the trees, and then I'm going to lose some barley, which would really be unfortunate given how quickly I'm going through this stuff. So after midnight, the sorghum's going to be able to be harvested. I'll then be able to throw in another crop. You know, we've made about 10,000 just from our passive income over the months that we've been doing this. But I'm going to go ahead and get this topped off, so it should be 550 that go in. I'll just leave it that way. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and sleep. Alright, I'm hoping this rain is ending, because now I can't harvest in the rain. I know this bucket will be empty. How are they empty again? Oh, I see. Because it didn't... I wasn't in there, so their health went... Alright, well that's something to know. I thought if I had the shovel tipped, it would have gone in. Alright, so we're already at 1,000 pieces there. We've got 8,400 sitting there. But yeah, if we look at the weather, in theory it's clearing up here. I'm just going to turn the lights off, just because. But at this point, obviously, I don't want to harvest yet. But it is ready to harvest. Not going to try to bail. Just not going to play that game. You know, but as you can see, we're at 45,000. You know, we're just getting a few hundred each time. Okay, so I have 900 liters of barley here. This wagon is empty. Yep, nothing in here. And I don't think it's going to tell us how much barley we have here, but we are down to very little. And now we're consuming at least 10,000 or 1,000 every 10 hours. So the other thing I learned, which I didn't know, is sorghum actually will feed the chickens. So this is good, because otherwise I think we're going to be in a world of hurt, because we definitely don't have 5 months, which would basically be at least 10,000 liters of crop left to feed our little chickens. Again, apologize for the lovely startup sounds here. There we go. A little bit better now. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead. Start getting this pulled off. As we can see, whoops, tried to turn on my cruise, but it didn't work. So we're going to harvest this up at a good pace. Nice thing is, I should be able to just put that into the silo, and I think that's what I'm going to try to do. So we'll see how that works. Obviously I'm going to have to configure the silo to accept the grain, and it should take, 25,000, but what that then turns into is I'm not selling things, and I'm not getting myself closer to my tractor directly, but the thought would be that the eggs have got to be more profitable than selling the grain, because we're usually going to get 200 to 500 maybe on grain per 1,000 liters, and as we talked about, per 1,000 liters of eggs we're getting 2,000 to 2,500, but the productivity on it may be slower, but with 500 chickens this may actually make more sense. So instead of hauling this to the market and selling, if I just let them produce eggs, get another layer of eggs where I've got basically 17,000 eggs, that'll be probably at least $34,000 of income, and that will put me in the ballpark of where I need to be. Again, turned a little too sharp. I think I've still got backwards. So let me get behind it. My brain's not working on 3 dimensions this morning to let that go. So I'll go ahead and do that. But I think that might be the path forward at this point, because the chickens would be out, and again, it's the way Farming Simulator 22 works. That's okay, they wouldn't die on me, but obviously I'd like to have a little bit of realism here that if I have them, I'm feeding them, which might sadly turn into maybe that's what my farm is doing, is just growing wheat, barley, and sorghum, storing it, feeding my chickens, because basically every 1,000 liters of this I get off the field, if we think about it, it's going to get me 10 hours, maybe not even, because I still don't have 500, and maybe I won't get 500, but I think I will. I think when a reproduction cycle comes along, it's just going to pop me another 20. So there's going to, it's going to be a little over 100 an hour. And, so that means in a 24-hour cycle, we're using at least 2,400 liters. So at this point, if you think about it, like, I've got 2 months, I'm coming up here on 2 months worth of sorghum, finally. It looks like I missed an area with a weed. So that's always a bit of the challenge of doing it early and visually, as you're trying to make sure you drop things down fast enough. So there we go, 4,805 liters. That's 2 days of chicken feed. And probably, let me stop here. Kind of let it drift to a pause. So you can see I can get 634 for the sorghum, and then barley's 400. So basically, if we're just being nice, say 500 and a little bit of a premium for sorghum. But if I look at eggs, ooh, they're only 1,800. Wow. Okay, well. And again, this may be one of those where I try to be really careful on when I sell, because that's one thing I can look at too, is if I show the price fluctuations. What month are we in? August. So we're not at the lowest, but it's certainly going to go up in the next 3 months. So basically it looks like if I can sell in November, that's going to be my prime target, and I should be able to store up eggs and deliver them for sale once a year. But what this might do then is, if I do that, I don't have to be in such a rush to plant the next crop, which could mean that I can focus on the chicken production and getting myself enough money to go ahead and buy myself the tractor. So let's see if I set this up. So I'm at 1,028 pieces and 480 chickens. So when we hit 9 o'clock, we're going to take a look again, and we're going to see how many eggs we're getting an hour. Alright, so at this point, well, I didn't set my, Alright, so let me go back this way, because again, I do want to set my GPS the same way, kind of going diagonally here with, along my field contour. So I haven't set my line on my harvest. Whoops. Why did it do that? Interesting. Oh, I don't have GPS on the harvester. Forgot about that. Because my thought was, well, I'm gonna change out the harvester, and I was saving money. Because I really, you know, it goes slow enough that I can be accurate, so... I'm just trying to figure out if I can go across, but at this point we're nearly full. You know, and the piece here obviously is... I'm gonna have to see now if I can put this in the silo. I should probably be full by the time I get back. So before I head over here, although now it's cutting on me, even though I didn't want to. Welcome to gravity. Alright. So 1,107. So we're making about 90 an hour, which means each month we will be putting out 1,000 liters or 1,000 eggs. So there we go, 7,500. So we're full. Now let me hop out here and head on over to my silo and again get it ready to take some things. Alright, so that should be configured, I believe, to let me intake crop, mainly grain. Probably don't want to extend this until I get in there, because I'll just be fighting with trees and so forth. Alright, so my hope is that I can extend this and then maneuver in such a way that it will... Please don't tip over. But that it will allow me to just put it in the silo. So let's see. I'm just trying to be really careful here. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So that works. Because I was kind of lining up over the target spot, but obviously that's not where it does it. Again, if I recall, this is a 25,000 liter silo. The question will become what I've discovered in other gameplay I've done is, unlike FS19, where 25,000 would mean I could hold 25,000 of every grain that's there. That's not how this works. So I would be very surprised if we have more than 25,000 liters off this field, but if we do, the chickens will consume it pretty quickly, I'm sure. So, alright, well, it's going to get noisy again. Alright, so we're past the startup. At this point, I guess I'm just going to run this way and just kind of get this part done, because it's only got 3 or 4 more passes this way, and then I can just head across and be done. But yeah, so I guess that's the path I'm going to take at this point. Is I'm not going to sell this sorghum. I'm going to hold on to it at least for a time to feed chickens, and hopefully that'll get me enough that I can change out the tractor, and then we'll go ahead and I will look at really blowing out the field and really focusing on expanding. Because if I can do that, and double or triple the size of this field. That's kind of what I think would be a good goal. Might be too ambitious, we'll see. Once again, I may be like, alright, I can't cut trees and get them here, but doing something like that too will probably give me, you know, we're going to have a lot of timber, and that we know generates a good amount of cash. And now that I have a sell point down here right on the farm, that will make it a lot more bearable to go ahead and do that. Even if I have to take out 20 or 30 trees, I don't know. That's probably going to be my limit in just what I can handle mentally in a period of time. I don't know that I could do 100 trees or something and not just be miserable, but who knows. So I'm going to go ahead and get this field done, get everything harvested, and then I will let you know where we're at. And you know, it may be time, or at least close to time, to start figuring out if I take that load of eggs at this point and just start accumulating some funds, or do I just let it... Well, actually, no, I know I want to wait till November. So at a minimum, we'll be doing that. The question will become, am I going to... What am I going to put into the field next? But I'm not going to go ahead where initially I was thinking, wow, I'm just going to try to harvest and then jam something in the same day so that I can continue to make some extra money. But anyway, we'll talk about it when I get back, so I'll see you in a bit. So I'm done with the harvest. Get this poured in here. Over 5,000 now. I had emptied the harvester when it was partially full before too, so we may have a full 2 harvesters full, so over 15,000. So actually just barely 15,773. So that would not even give us 10 days of food for the chickens. So this is now when we're going to start to analyze if we want to be in the chicken business this way. Well, or anyway, because I think the food consumption is the same. So I don't think there's anything unique about what is happening with the food. So we've got, what, 1,195 pieces already. So certainly by the end of the day, we're going to have a full pallet of eggs again. And yeah, at this point, seems to be what we have. So I think at this point I'm going to spend a little bit of time going ahead and cleaning up this pile of barley off the ground. Now that I have the silo, I think it's just easier to go in there, use the trailer that I have to dump some food in there. Again, I'm going to kind of come at this from the side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let me just... it looks like the bucket might be at the right angle. Just a question of... actually, I'm already lower, but I don't know. Well, we'll see how this goes. But, you know, as you can see, we've got a few thousand, so we might have 4,000 or 5,000. And, you know, if the silo works the way I've seen in FS22, like at some point I'm just going to have too much to fill up. So now I'm hoping here, like, I guess we'll see. Whoops. Okay, this may not be as much fun as well, I'm wondering if I pick this up. That might make it a little bit easier. I'm hoping this... There we go. So it does look... Just make sure it did go in the silo. Okay. So I'm going to empty this pile, and we'll see what it looks like when I'm done with that. Alright, so with what I have in the shovel, I would have 5,000 in the silo, but I've got about 4,800 in the silo, and so another 400-ish or so here in the shovel. I'm going to go dump that in because we're down to 250. Well, we were down to 250. We're probably down to 150 at this point, so get that taken care of. So yeah, 530. Getting to 50% reproduction. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead, put that away, and then I'm going to turn this on here so that I can unload. And I'm going to go ahead and get myself loaded up because, yeah, at this point in the day, I'm down to 30 liters of feed left in the chicken coop. Now we've got a full pallet of eggs that's already out, and we've started filling quite well the next one. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this with barley, which should be 3,150 if I recall. Yeah, this is just nicer and cleaner than picking stuff off of a pile on the ground, so should hopefully be graduated from that. The only challenge we're going to have is if I do a massive field expansion, which is the plan, I may suddenly have more than I can work with in the storage, and I'm going to have to then determine, do I want to have a couple silos, because I don't know that it makes sense to go to a substantially larger one, sell what I have and so forth, but not sure. So if I do the right, that should get me a good amount. There we go. So it is late enough today, because I was debating, well, maybe I'll put something else in the field. But you can see we have 1,700 pieces, 1,000 grain. My challenge is I'm not going to make it to the morning with that grain, so I'm still going to have to go and dump more in tonight. But we'll see what things look like in the morning. But, you know, what I'd like to do is maybe get to November, but I think in the interim I'm going to go ahead and plant something else. I just don't know if, again, I'm not in this cycle that I just plant grain and create eggs. Because right now what I'm trying to do is get to November, which is going to be prime egg selling period, and see where I'm at. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to monitor next month, and I'll explain what my logic is when I get there. So I'll see you kind of in the middle of the night here. Alright, so it just changed over. It's now September. You can see I have 2,419 eggs, and I'm down to 200 liters of feed. So what I'm going to do, and now I also have my other 20 chickens, so I'm now fully functioning. Now the interesting thing, however, is I'm thinking my egg productivity may actually increase, although that may not be true. I guess I'll just monitor it. But what I'm going to do is keep an eye out of how much food I put in and how many eggs I get out. So again, I'm putting 800 back in, but at this point we'll just say, you know, I have 1,000. I have 1,300 left. It's going to use probably 100 an hour, but I'll also monitor that in the next hour, and I'll kind of report back what my findings are. But what I'd like to do is use the month of September to monitor the output, and then obviously keep an eye out, but at least it gives me a level set, and I can determine, am I putting in 2,000 grain and getting 2,000 eggs out, or am I getting less eggs for the grain I'm putting in, so forth, and just see what that conversion is, because then that will help me make the determination and do some analysis to see what I need to do. Alright, so here we sit at the end of the day. I have had to refill or go get more barley. It wasn't a full load, but basically what I've gotten to from starting right at right after midnight, because obviously things happen at the top of the hour with the chickens. If my tracking was accurate, which I'm pretty sure it was, I put in 2,396 liters of food, and I got 2,415 liters of eggs. So going ahead and doing some math analysis, probably a reasonable price for barley in this case to assume would be $575,000 or $575 per thousand. And then a relatively reasonable, so slightly conservative, not the tip-top price, is $2,200 for 1,000 liters of eggs. So with that differential, one day is basically giving me a premium of $4,000 in selling this in eggs, because it is right now about a 1-to-1 conversion. Now again, what we'll start to see, and that may be why it's not exactly $23.96 to $23.96, as there was a little bit of a bump, is that once all the chickens mature and are basically at the point where they could be reproducing, it's possible then that the production increases even more. And basically in 3 days or 3 months, we're going to have nearly, we're going to have, 4,800, 7,200 eggs. So, that would be about the time we'd need to move them every 3 days, at least put them on the trailer or whatever. So that would be that work. But in those 3 days, we'd make 12,000 above what we would have made just selling the grain. So, that's the thing. It's like 2,000 in grain sales to 6,000 in egg sales. So, we'll probably make like 18,000 is probably what the sales price will be if we wait until the peak, which is certainly easy enough to do with eggs, because I can just stack them on the ground, where grain, unless I'm either expanding silos, which costs money, I'm not going to put that on the ground, so I'm limited to 25,000 in what I can store. And with the way the silos work, that likely is cumulatively across multiple crops. So it would just be much harder to hit the high selling point, which is why that 575 for barley might be high. Like right now it's really at 550, but it's not at its peak, and its peak is closer to 650. But obviously its low point, I think, is in the 400s. So it could be substantially more. So I think right now I've answered my question. This work makes more sense to be basically converting grain into eggs by running it through chickens. So if we think of that as our production process, as our chickens are our production factory, and it may increase, and I'll keep an eye on that as I go along, because like right now I only have 2 sets of chickens into the point where they be reproductive, and it's possible that when these other sets get there that I'm going to have higher throughput even than what I was seeing. Because in that hour we went from 4,834 eggs to 5,317 eggs. Because that's going to be the biggest challenge with this, is just keeping the chickens full of food. So we had run low. You can see the health is 96%, but that will resolve itself very quickly. But with that, what I'm going to do is I am just going to continue feeding chickens. And the other piece that to maximize the profit, because the issue is now with sorghum, sorghum can go up to 930. So, you know, the differential is not going to be as substantial. So if I'm feeding the chickens, obviously the thing I'd want to do is feed them the lowest cost grain, unless I determine that sorghum suddenly creates a massive boost in output. But I'm guessing that's not going to be the case. So at this point here, you know, I'm going to be switching to sorghum. If I suddenly see, you know, the egg production go up today to, you know, 3,000 eggs or something in the next cycle till I get to November, you know, then I've got something else to think about and some other analysis to do. But I think that means I need to feed my chickens barley, so I'm going to have to grow barley crops pretty regularly and use that, because that's going to be my most inexpensive way to run that production. So I'll see you in a bit. So I'm going ahead and I'm getting barley in the ground here tonight before the day is over. And, you know, we'll go ahead and get the weeding done. But, you know, as we mentioned, we're shooting for November to sell the eggs. But I want to get a crop moving along so that we are in a good position to continue forward if we need to do that, rather than suddenly running into a situation. Because the thing I did realize is we only have 15,000 sorghum in the silo, and the fact that they're eating, you know, a couple thousand a day, you know, if this takes 4 days or 6 days for the barley, 6 months, this could be more than I can really appropriately handle without running out of food and kind of creating a situation that isn't realistic, which again I'm trying to avoid if I can. So I'm going to get this work done. It is very challenging in the dark. I'm not terribly enjoying it. I keep missing areas, having to redo areas and so forth, but doing the best I can with the goal of, you know, I'll definitely obviously have this planted before midnight, which is kind of the bigger milestone that I need to worry about. And, you know, you can see the example of what I'm talking about here, where, you know, I get hooked up on trees. I'm having all kinds of challenges, as I said. So, but it's just difficult enough for me to see, let alone not great compelling videos. So I'm going to get this done, and I'll see you in a bit. Well, good morning. Go ahead and, can't quite empty everything in, but got close. But at this point, we're at November. So before I go drag anything over, alright, so we're at 2577, which technically is higher than the 2529. So this is an excellent time to take these eggs over. So it is 8 in the morning, believe it or not. It's just November, so it's dark. So pretty exciting. Looking out the side, got a little maple syrup tent. So that continues to work. I'm a little turned around here in the dark, but alright. So yeah, I forgot to strap in. I'm like, I only have 8,400, that's not right. But now I have 16,000. Luckily nothing fell off as I drove around. Ooh, I got close though It's good I strapped those on. They were getting close to falling off. Let's just make sure. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, 6 on top. Yeah, that one layer shifted entirely. So thank goodness. But at 2,500, this might be pretty good. Because that means every 4,000 is getting us 10. We may be able to come back with a new tractor. And if that's the case, that will be a good thing. Now, the challenge that I just realized, we got a front loader on this. I'm not sure the bigger tractors are going to have that. So I'm going to have to figure out something where I do need a front loader. What am I going to do? Now, I think the shop's got some stuff they can load things on, but I will have the same issue where I can't get things off the trailer if I need to, other than just like making them fall off. But I shouldn't be taking anything too substantial, but I'm not gonna not do that. And I don't know, whoop, that is a tree. It is just, I don't like driving in the dark. There's the path. Let's follow that. We should be in better shape now. But no, this should give us 40,000. Over 40. Yeah, like 42, 43,000. So we're going to be approaching 100,000. So this should be pretty good, and we'll be able to sell the tractor. I mean, I suppose I could get a skid steer or something over, but I just don't know that I want to do that. So let's see. I think to do the eggs, I got to go in the same place I've been doing everything else, which is over here. So let's see what we get. But this should be my sell point. There they go. So, getting close. There we go. 43,294. So, I'm going to detach this. Because at this point, I can actually just wait here, because it's not as if I even need this to buy the tractor. So, this is exciting. So this worked out quite nicely. So this Schluter, which I'm assuming is German or something like that, a bit boxy, but you know, for 54,000 for 253 horse. I mean, right now we're at 170. So just so we understand where we're headed. So we're at 170, but I can take this here to the high engine and get 325. So not quite double. That would be 340. We're still going to want to do GPS, so that's where I knew we were at 71,500. Haven't really looked at my other options here, so pretty much just big tires all around. I don't know that I need beacon lights if they were free. Alright, so this is just hydraulic, but it's not a front loader. So, and I think on the medium trailers, it's just harder to, you know, a good sized tractor like this, it's just harder to get that. So, we're going to have to, if we need that, we're going to have to find another way to do it. You know, and it may just be that I get a telehandler at some point or something, which is frankly probably easier to work with anyway. So 71,500. That's pretty snazzy looking. But I'm a little partial to this, where it kind of makes it look as close as I can probably get to a John Deere, you know, but the yellow. I think it's better than the red, and that purple, you know, is nice, but we're not looking for anything crazy. The nice thing is they're all within the same price range, so we're going to go ahead and get this. But knowing that, I now know that I can't do anything. I should have left this bucket. So I'm going to go do that, because if I do get a front loader at some point, although I'm wondering if, well, a bucket's a bucket. I'm going to need different arms if I do a telehandler, but I'm going to take this back. I'll be back. Alright, so I'm heading back here now. You know, the White Boss was nice and all, but you know, it's time. It's time to do something different. So I can repair for that. Alright, so we're gonna sell. Got quiet really fast. And sell. Alright. So 17,000, so we got 40,000. So let's see what our nice new tractor is like. Pretty nice. You like it, sir? What do you think? I think it's pretty cool. Well, and it's nice and new, and not really, doesn't sound terrible when it starts up. We're getting somewhere in the world now. The problem is it's tall, so I am a little worried about the clearance in the trees. Guess we'll find out. It's not any wider, I don't think, than what I had. The other thing that's nice is the other tractor went 20. This one goes 29, so this is faster as well. So far, everything about this, my initial first impression, is everything is superior. So I've got, what, in essence, a 50% increase in speed, nearly, let's say, an 80% increase in horsepower. I'm a little, whoa, well, there you go. Drove into the maples. Let's pay attention where we're going before we roll this thing. But there we go. We're testing the power. That's what we're doing, right? So, very different feel. Obviously, you know, hopefully things that we want are going to connect up nicely. And I'm going to go, because I was so excited, I realized I left my trailer. But the nice thing is, this gives me the opportunity to try this way. So I could go 16 up this hill empty with the other tractor. So I do, you know, I can't hit top speed, which makes sense. I'm using some horsepower to climb. Even worst case, I'm going 22. And some of it is obviously I'm climbing here with this heavier tractor, so I'm probably pulling a lot higher load, but overall you can see the acceleration on this is pretty significant. So there we go. So I'm pretty excited. We got here faster than not physically to this location faster, but what I meant is we got to the ability to buy this tractor faster than I expected. I really thought I was going to have to go through 2 crop cycles. And yeah, so they do have a forklift there, so in the short term, before I do something, you know, telehandler or something to be able to handle anything I need to lift on the farm. So let's see. It looks okay. It connects down low there, so that's important. Alright. Oops. I was looking backwards. Don't want to be doing that. But I was checking out my trailer when I was connecting. But yeah. So we got here a lot faster than I thought. So the chickens are working out. I just wish I didn't have to feed them as often, because in essence, right now it's going to be a constant thing I have to pay attention to, because they need food more than twice a day. Basically every 9-10 hours at this point. What I haven't figured out is now, as they're continuing to mature, has their productivity gone up a bit, but I'm not really that worried about it, frankly. So alright, so now that I'm here, let me go back out, and not sure where I want to leave this. It's kind of been in the way where I've had it, but at this point, get it closer to the front of the tent. How about that? So we'll drop it there. That's one thing. The other tractor, it got stuck in that, so very nice. Just popped right out. Some of it is obviously the wheels on this thing are ginormous. So, but yeah, probably at this point can get a little more into the chicken, or into the coop. So let's clear out that sorghum. Certainly we'll be able to do the 25. So we got 920. Still got these 2 that need to get of age, and these are a long way to go. So that's why they're only $9. But yeah, I'm loving it. Just feels like we've made some progress now. You know, doing something with the harvester, that's going to take some doing. And again, other than it being super loud, I'm okay with it. You know, we don't have anything that big. Even if I go crazy, like I said, and triple the size of this field, I think it'll be workable. So, you know, the only other thing that I might do in the short term is a bigger trailer, but we're going to definitely go through the harvest with the current trailer. And I don't know that, once again, if we're going to be selling anything anyway, because we may just be doing the chickens, but I'll know when I'm hauling the eggs back how things work. So I'm pretty thrilled. I'm going to go ahead right now and just stop the episode here, because there's definitely been enough that we've done. I'm going to not move forward in time, because I'm going to go ahead and get the fertilization done later. But I'm going to include that in the next video so that everyone can kind of get a good look at the new tractor working away for a few seconds, because obviously it's going to be very, very fast. But I will see you next time.